Happy student, happy life. That is exactly what we want for our students as community college instructors, staff, and administrators. Hi, my name is Claire Sparklin, and I teach communication classes at Washtenaw Community College in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I have been creating and helping edit and adopt OER, Open Educational Resources, since the fall of 2015. That's when we first adopted and created our course content for interpersonal communication. Then in fall of 2016, we adopted an OER for public speaking. And then winter of 2016, I used my self-created OER for oral interpretation of literature. In fall of 2016, I adopted and created an OER for intercultural communication. So adopting and creating OER is something that I have been working in for quite a while, and I'm really excited to talk to you about my experiences as an instructor and some of the great support that I received from my college. All right, as you probably know, textbook costs have just been increasing year after year. We can see that they have rose about 4 times the rate of inflation, which means our students are paying so much in textbooks every single semester. It just keeps increasing. So how does this affect our students? Well, our students are getting a lot more in debt. Our tuition rates are rising, and those textbooks are rising as well. The average student pays right around $600 per semester on their textbooks currently. And that's just too much. It really negatively influences them. In fact, a report released in 2013 from the U.S. Public Interest Research Group Education Fund found that 65% of our students decided that they were not going to buy a textbook. And that 94% of those students were really worried that by not buying the textbook, it would affect their grade. As instructors, we know that's true. Their worries are well-founded. Also, the same study found that nearly half of all students surveyed said that the cost of the textbooks actually impacted how many classes they took, and it made ripple effects in their other academic decisions as well, including things like what they would major in just based upon textbook cost. Also, about 82% of students felt that they would do significantly better in a course if the textbook was available free online. All right. So we have such an issue going on. The rising cost of textbooks, tuition rates increasing, and our students being caught in the middle of all this. That's where Open Educational Resources, or OER, come in. Open Educational Resources provide students with content for free. And depending on how they're published, we as instructors can use, adapt, and reshare them. So in 2015, I mentioned that we adopted our first OER at Washtenaw Community College, and it was a self-created textbook called Improving Interpersonal Communication. When we did this, we also realized that for our part-timers, they were not going to be able to have some of those ancillaries that they really depend on that our textbook companies create. So what we did was we took this self-created OER textbook, which now there are actually quite a few available that you can just pluck off the OER textbook shelf. At the time, though, that was not available. So we took our originally created OER textbook, and then we incorporated that e-text into our learning management system at Washtenaw Community College. So that way we'd have an easy way to be able to share that. We also used our resources that were available. We had our entire department come together and help edit that textbook, and then also create some of those ancillaries that would really help our part-timers be able to teach from it. So we included things like short mini lectures on video. We also had different learning activities that were available online and different, let's see, we had PowerPoint slides created and quizzes and different activities like that. The result, as we started to roll this out, first of all, we piloted it, the OER text in a couple of different sections, and then we rolled it out to every section of interpersonal communication at Washtenaw Community College. The result was that we saved our students about $172,000 annually, which is staggering in and among itself. But the really mind-blowing thing is now, as this is being recorded in the fall of 2021, we have saved our students over $1 million since adopting this one textbook. I mean, talk about amazing. And that's not all. Nationally, it's known that about 1 in 4 college freshmen do not purchase learning materials that are required for the course. That was from a national survey of student engagement in 2015. So think about like a classroom full of students and knowing that 1 in 4 don't have those learning materials. That's what typically happens when students have to purchase those learning materials. However, when we first started rolling out this OER, we studied one year we studied about 14 sections of interpersonal communication to take a look at how students were accessing the course material. What we found was that 96% of students access their course materials online. So 96%, we're already like increasing that 75% accessing the course materials. And then an additional 16% of students bought a physical copy of that OER textbook from our bookstore. So between those two numbers, you can see like the access rates are much higher. And what happens when everyone in the class has access to the material you're covering? Oh my goodness, it is transformative. Just like in the International Journal of Teaching and Learning in Higher Education from 2018, there was a study done that looked at courses that use traditional textbook materials and then also the ones that use OER. And what they found was an increase in student success and positive grade distribution. Take a look at the numbers here on this slide. They are amazing. You notice that overall, when we're comparing students who earn a grade letter of A in those non-OER classes, that was ranking right around 18%. But in the classes that offered OER, those students, they were earning letter grades of an A at about 23.46%. Like that's a huge increase, getting more students up and able to earn that A because of access to the materials. Also, you'll notice in the non-OER classes about a little less than 11% of students ended up withdrawing or getting an F in their course, whereas with the OER classes, it was only about 8%. That is really incredible. When you think about all of the initiatives at your college to try to increase student success, something as simple as making the course materials free and accessible for students, that jumps that success number up so incredibly much. We found the same thing as we were studying interpersonal communication and the effects on our students. We found in our pilot courses about a 4% increase in success. And that means that more of our students had a passing letter grade and fewer of them dropped the class. So that was wonderful news. And then also we saw similar things with the positive grade distribution. Those students in the OER classes tended to move up on the grade letter scale at the end of the semester, which is great. So as we adopted OER throughout communication courses at Washtenaw Community College, the change that has happened has been so powerful. Student engagement has gone up, student success has gone up. And as you saw from the video at the beginning of this presentation, we have much happier students. Students are happy when they can afford their rent, when they can afford groceries, and when they're invited to the table in our classrooms to be able to participate and be part of that conversation. Once we established OER in our classrooms, myself, I found that I had so much more control over the course content and really making sure that everyone had a spot at the table. So thank you for joining me today to listen to how OER has positively influenced our communication classes at WCC. If you'd like more information or just want to reach out, please contact me with my email.